Hello and welcome to another KeySmash Studios video. Today in Unity we're going to be creating a 2D collectible so that when we run across it, it gives us health. And right now we don't have that working with our health, but I'll show you an example with this ammo. When I run across the ammo, our ammo goes up. So we're going to get that done with our health collectible. And then next week we'll talk about how to make those respawn. If I swap over here to the scene view, you can see that I have this sprite called HP and there's nothing on it. Well, I want to do a couple things first. I want to animate this to bob up and down just like our ammo did. If we're in our game view, here, let me do this. If we come and hit play and go in our game view to our ammo, we'll notice that it bobs up and down. And that's a really simple animation that we can do to our HP sprite. So what I'm going to do is hit Control-6, and that's going to open up our animation window. And it says to begin creating and animating HP, create an animator and an animation clip. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and I'm going to call this HP anim. And this is going to create an animator for our HP. So if I hit this record button and I move the sprite, it'll create a keystone right here at 0. And then if I go out here to 1 second and move it up, it's going to create another one. So as you can see over the duration of this 1 second, it goes up and then down, up and then down. Maybe I don't want this one at 1 second to be quite so far up, so I can move this down just a little bit. So it goes up, down, down. What I actually need to do is scroll out a little bit and go out here to 2 seconds and have it return to its original location in the animation so it loops naturally. So what I want to do is come over here to 1 second, and I'm going to click this little gear right here and hit copy component. Then I'm going to go to 2 seconds, and you'll see that everything changes up here. And we're going to hit paste component values. So now when I hit play on this animation, it goes up and then down and then up and then down. And we have this nice simple bob animation on our 2D sprite. That's great. I'm happy with that. I am just going to leave that as is. Control save. Anytime this HP is in this game, it'll do that forever. And that's great. That's half of what we want to do. We also want to make this a collectible. When we run into it, we want something to happen. And we need to have that happen in code. We want to have that happen in code. And the easiest way to do that is to utilize the tag system in Unity. So I'm going to come up here to where it says tagged, and it is untagged. I'm going to go to the drop down, and I'm going to hit add tag. So I'm going to hit this little plus sign right here. And I'm just going to type in HP, all lowercase. That's our tag. I'm going to select our heart again. And it's important that I do this. I have to tag it as HP. So now we have it tagged as HP, but we need something to be able to collide with it or trigger it and make it do something. So we need to add another component here. And we're going to add a box collider, 2D. And you can see right around the edges here, there's like a little green line. If I hit Edit Collider, we can see that collider. And we want this to be a trigger and nothing else. That means when we run into it, we don't want to bounce off of it. We just want to trigger something to happen. And we'll get to what that triggering is in a second. We don't need to change anything else on our little collider here. What I'm actually going to do is just click and drag this HP down here and create a prefab of it. Now that we have our collider set, we need to go in the code and make this function. So in our code on our player controller, we're looking for the onTriggerEnter2D. If you don't have this, this is just where you collide with triggers. So this is an example of what we're going to do. This collision.gameObject.tag equals ammo. So when I collide with an ammo, I add 10 ammo and I set the thing that we collide with to false. We're going to do something very similar to that, but with HP. So I'm going to throw in an if here. And I'm going to say if my collision, the thing that I collide with, is a game object, and if that game object has a tag that is equal to HP, and remember our capitalization from before, that's very important. It has to exactly match what we're doing. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to increase our player's health. So we'll see all the way up here we set our HP to 100, and it's just HP equals 100. So we're just going to say HP plus equals 25. That way, if we get health, we just go up 25 health. After that, we can add a little thing here that says, if HP is greater than 100. So if HP is greater than 100, so anything over 100, we're just going to set HP to 100. That way we never go past 100 health. And of course, the last thing that we need to do is set our game object to false. So we'll go down here to say collision.gameObject.setActive, and we're just going to set that to false. So when we collide with it, we make sure that it disappears as well. So we'll go ahead and save that, and we'll hop right into our scene here, and we'll see that our heart is bobbing there, and when we run into it, it disappears. So we need a way to test to make sure that we can get past it. So I'm going to try to jump over this really quick. All right, and then we'll try to take some damage here. If you remember from our previous shielding video, this is a bad guy, he does some damage. So we're at 50 health now, you can see in our top left corner. And we're going to just hop right on back and try to collide with this health and see what happens. And there we go, our health goes up to 75. And then the last thing we have to test to make sure that it's working is that if we're at 100 health and we run into it, it stays at 100. So we're just going to watch and make sure it doesn't glitch out and say 125 for a quarter of a second and then go to 100. Which it doesn't. So there we have it. A pretty easy way to set up some type of collectible for your game. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. We're always more than happy to help. You can also check out our Discord. We have a questions and support channel in there where lots of people know how to code, and we'll be happy to help you there. If this has been helpful at all, I'd recommend you taking a look at some of the links down below, from our Patreon to our Twitch, or even consider subscribing to our channel. Anything you can do will help us out. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week when we take a dive into respawning these collectibles.